Okay, we're ready. All right. So what we're going to do here is we'll go to the next slide here, which is the kind of agenda, and that we won't spend that much time on that one. Oh, no, did that not go? You did. Cindy's better at computers than I am. Okay, there he is. So that's kind of the agenda of what we'll be talking about today. And like we said, if you have any questions, you can ask when we're talking and we'll be able to answer them, or you can wait till the end, but make sure you jot them down so you don't forget any questions. We want to answer all of your questions today.
So I'd like to introduce our new CEO and president, Gary Drews. He just started at the, I think it was December 27th, so he's brand new to Nine Health Fair. Gary has a lot of great ideas. He really wants to take Nine Health Fair into the future. He's big on using technology, which it seems that everyone is using right now. He really has a lot of energy. He loves our mission. He loves all our volunteers, and hopefully he can make it to as many fairs as possible. One thing we would like to ask of you, if you or your participants have any ideas of what they would like to see Nine Health Fair offer in the future, as far as screenings, as far as technology, as far as changing education or anything at all, we would love your feedback. And if you could direct that to Nine Health Fair, we will be more than happy to take that into consideration.
Okay, on the resource guide for this year, basically it hasn't changed as far as you get 3 hard copies per site, and then it is on our new website. Some of you might not have used this new website, but it's on the new website, and you just go under the resource guide. It's very easy to find, and you can get all the information you need to know as far as running a health fair on that site. If you have an old resource guide, we ask that you go ahead and remove all the pages from that. Go ahead and recycle them and replace them with the new pages. Don't want you to keep any of those old pages that might have different information on it. The optional screening section is, that gives you the basis information for all the screenings you'll be doing, either it's basic screenings or for the optional medical screenings. And those are in the resource library too. In the manual or the resource guide, you can tell how old I've been or how long I've been working at the Nine Health Fair, say manual. It's a resource guide. That in that resource guide you will have not the complete protocols. That is on the website.
Okay, in our resource library, which is on our website, there's just a plethora of information about Nine Health Fair and information that you can use. It's the resource guide by section. It's individual screenings. We have copies of our Nuts and Bolts newsletter, and I would really advise you to read each of those monthly, what we send out in Nuts and Bolts and Volunteer Voices. They're a wealth of information and our latest updates. Of course, there's the promotional and marketing and fundraising materials for you, the medical resource clinic guide by county, volunteer management tools. And if anyone in your team or you are not familiar with the new website, there's some great, very short training videos and PDFs that you can print out, and that will really help you get through our new website. It works hopefully a lot better, but again, if you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you like or what you don't like or what isn't working. So that is our resource library.
Okay, and Cindy already mentioned about the Nuts and Bolts and Volunteer Voices, so we can just go to the next slide, I think, which is online registration. And for online registration, the big thing that's changing this year is last year, if you had online registration at noon the day before your fair, you would get a printout of all the people who had registered online. This year, we are keeping the registration opened until 7 a.m. or the time that your fair starts. And at that time, it will be closed, but participants can register up to that time. So you will be getting two different printouts, one noon, the day before your fair, and the next one will be the morning of your fair. You will get another one. So if you do not have access at your fair for a printer or a computer where you can pull that up that day of your fair, and of course you need one more thing to do in the morning of your fair. But what we're suggesting is that if somebody comes into your fair and they have registered online and it's not on your list, go ahead and accept them and put it on the exception report. And so you might need several copies of the exception report extra this year than you had last year just because of this. Also, if they've registered online at another fair, last year it was a complicated process of getting them refunded and they had to pay again. This year that's not the case. What you will do is you will accept their registration from the fair they registered online for, and then you will go ahead and give them your little stickers at your fair and put them on the exception sheet. But they can have their blood drawn at your fair even though they have registered at another one online. Does that make sense, hopefully, to everybody? If you have any questions about the finances of cashiers online, Dave Fickle is at the office during the fairs, or he is on a cell phone. So you can go ahead and give him a call. Let's make sure we've got everything else. So make sure you have enough people at your online registration table. The folks who come in to your fair at online registration, they will bypass the cashiers so they don't have to go through that line. Many fairs have had separate lines for their online registration and their day of fair registration, and that has worked very well.
Okay, we have a question from Audrey Jennings. The question is the resource manual being sent to the site leaders again this year? And the answer is yes, it is.
3 copies.
3 copies of the resource guide. If for any reason someone doesn't get those, or if you need more, you can print that out on the resource list on the website. Or give us a call and we'll try to get one to you if we have any extras around. Great question.
Yes. And also for online registration, all your screeners need to be aware that the online registration form will look different than the forms that we give people the day of the fair.
Okay, we I think went over the new website, have a new website, so I won't linger on that one. The volunteer web team, we do have help here in the office. The same person who has helped us in years past, and he's fabulous. He knows the website inside, outward, outside, up and down, and backwards. Steve, and you can give him a call at the number that's listed on the screen, or get a hold of him via email at the link that is, or the address that is stated below.
Okay, the volunteer benefit. We appreciate all of you volunteers, and I know how much you appreciate your volunteers. And in the past few years, we've been giving all volunteers a 20% discount. We want to really encourage volunteers to use this discount. And this year, we're allowing volunteers not only to register online, like last year you had to register online to get your 20% off, but all sites will allow their volunteers also to register the day of the fair and be able to get that 20% off. So they can do it online or they can do it day of the fair, and the cashiers will be well trained by the Dave Fickle team to know what to do with that. The online coupon code is the same as last year. It's Thank You Vol for volunteer, and it's of course 17 this year instead of the 16 like it was last year. So Thank You Vol 17, and it is not case sensitive.
Okay, also...
Oh, one more thing on the volunteer benefits. If you are a site coordinator and you have a voucher that you're using for your blood chemistry, which is a free blood chemistry, or if one of your participants is using it as well, they can also get, the volunteers can also get 20% off the rest of their test.
So friends and family, this is the same as it was last year. Again, friends or family may also receive a 20% discount, and they just need to register online. That is the best way to get that, so that's all taken care of before you get to the cashier line. So make sure that any friends or family that are going to the health fair has that same code that they put in to the computer on the online registration.
That is the My First 9 NHF is the code that they would put in.
Correct, for friends or
right.
family.
And friends or family have to register online, but the volunteers don't.
Yes.
And to encourage your volunteers to use this 20% off, we're asking that you let your volunteers somehow go ahead and have their blood drawn at your fair. And try to give, like if you have phlebotomists who need their blood drawn, try to have some relief for them to leave their table for a few minutes and then get their blood drawn, or have maybe a half hour or 15 minutes or whatever before your fair to go ahead and let your volunteers come in and get their blood drawn. But just be creative about that, and if you come up with any best practices in regard to that, let us know.
Okay, exclusive discount, we've gone over the majority of this. Online for friends and family, in person for the volunteers, and then if there is a Quest Patient Service Center in your area, you can also go to the service center and have your blood drawn, and just make sure that they know that you do have to register for that also. And use the volunteer or the friends or family code, and they will get a discount at a Quest Service Center.
Okay, now to help your site expand your volunteering help, we ask that you try to make it fun, and most of you know how to do that, to try to see if you need help, don't wait till the last minute to get help. Think ahead. If you know a volunteer who is going to not be in a leadership position next year, try to find somebody who can follow them this year and they can be mentored so that they're ready to go next year. Try to get co-leaders so that the work is not so great on one person versus another. Highly recommend publicity coordinators, and we will go over that in a little while. Any food coordinators, training coordinators, whatever. You all know how to do that, I think.
Here's a little kind of publicity sign to help recruit volunteers, and we suggest that you put this in your volunteer room, and underneath each of the little very hard to read signs that the little person is holding, put your coordinators' names in that. And this just gives each of your coordinators some recognition, and then and put a contact, either phone number or email, that someone who would like to volunteer, someone that they can get a hold of, and then we can include them on the team. Either, well, probably not this year if they're signing up in your volunteer room, but at least we can get that name and number from you, or you can help that new person that volunteers to help you with the fair next year.
Where did you say we get this from?
This sign will be in your packet of signs that you get. Is that your question?
Yes.
Yes.
Only because I did not get my packet of signs. I think it went to our liaison in our area, but I'll touch base with her.
Who is that?
Val somebody. Hold on. I'll tell you.
Which site are you with?
Huh?
Which site are you with?
Cortez. It's a Cortez record.
Okay, Cortez. We'll check that out.
Yeah.
Val Hobson, I think. But I haven't asked her if she's gotten them, because she is our liaison. I'm just the site leader and medical director here in Cortez.
Okay. If she has not gotten them, would you let us know?
I will email her right now.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, maybe Priscilla too. I think she's a new
She is.
liaison.
Yep, she's down in our area as well, but I think Val is the one that kind of took over this part of it, and I think Priscilla took over a little bit further north, but
Okay.
I'll check with them.
Okay, great. Thank
And if you hold on afterwards, we can talk more about this.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, 9 Health Fair T-shirts. Once again, we're offering T-shirts. They'll all be royal blue this year, and you get a link in the nuts and bolts of how to order the T-shirts. You will get up to 10 T-shirts free to your site for the site leadership. If you have 11 or 12 people and you need a couple more, just let us know. We're pretty flexible about that. But you can order more T-shirts for $5 a piece for the Day of Volunteers if you would like. And there's no payment at the time. It's an online order just like it was last year, and you will get invoiced later on. So that really hasn't changed, other than there's no choice of colors anymore. It's just royal blue.
Vouchers for site leaders. Again, we're going to send you 5 vouchers that you can give to your coordinators. This is a voucher for the chemistry only, and like we were saying before, if someone registers online or has their blood drawn at your fair, the chemistry will be paid for, but they will also get that 20% discount if they use that code on everything else. So any questions about that, just let us know. But if you have done a fair before, this is the same process that we've used for several years.
And the vouchers for your community are a little bit different. Each site will get 3 vouchers automatically for their community, and they can distribute, the fair coordinators can distribute these vouchers any way they want to. If you have a greater need than 3 in your community, you can request more. Now, the deadline for statewide to request has already passed, but if you need them, just let us know and we'll work with you. The deadline for Metro is the 10th of this month, so you have a few more days. But you can order up to 15 more vouchers, which would give you a total of 18 for your community. And Virginia Pivick, and her email is right there, is somebody you can email.
Or
Terry
Kuhn. Yeah, and if you email either of those 2 people, I would try Terry first. She's here every day, and if it applies more to Virginia, she can pass that on. But they will be able to respond much quicker if you email Terry. There it goes. Okay, training videos. We already have covered this. There's a great variety of real short training videos on volunteer everything and how to use the website. So these are all available when you go to the website, sign in, and click on the resource list. You will see quite a number of different videos or just information that can help you answer many, many of your questions. And if you can't find it or you're just too frustrated going through everything, just give your liaison an email or a call, or just call 9 Health Fair and someone can get you an answer. We don't want you to be frustrated by all of this.
And for cashiering, the big news this year is that all statewide and metro sites will be getting the credit cards this year if they want them.
Credit card machines.
So machines, not credit cards. Credit card machines. Yes. Wish we all had credit cards. Okay, the machines. So you will have that. That's something that statewide site leaders have been asking for a long time, so we're really pleased that we're able to do that. It will be for Visa and MasterCard only, so American Express, Discover, and all that is not going to be accepted, but the Visa and MasterCard will be. If you have any questions regarding this, Dave Fickle is the one to call for any cashiering questions. The money should never be sent through the mail or currency, so you need to convert the currency into a cashier's check and send that through the mail, just like you have for ages. And all the cashiering supplies will be sent in the white envelope. And Dave Fickle talks to all the cashier supervisors, and he has all way under control.
Also, if you will get credit card machines, and we advise you to have some extension cords available for each of the credit card machines that you have, because they obviously do have to be hooked up through a plug. So just check your supplies, which we'll get to in a minute, and get some extra extension cords that you can have available this year. Okay, what's new with screenings? Few things. This year you can offer any of our children's screenings at your fair if you wish. You're not obligated to do this at all, but you can do one or as many as you want. You don't have to do any of them if you don't want. But this sometimes will get you more participants into your fair. And if parents do not want to leave their children at home and have not come to a fair in the past because they couldn't find a sitter, this is a great way to have them bring kids and get them some screenings for themselves. All of the optional screenings and basic screenings protocols are in the resource guide. There's also an IEC list, the educational list that is related to children and families. There's some ideas for wellness zone activities or demonstrations. There's a pediatric guide in the Ask a Medical Question binder or box, and each screening also contains a children's tally sheet. So please make sure that the screener has that tally sheet available and they're recording the normal or further evaluation marks. Okay?
And the kids' results cards will be in your supplies when you get them if you've ordered the children's kit. And these will go to each of the children that come to the 9 Health Fair, and they can take it around to be marked by the screeners. And these, you will get 50 in each box of the children's screening box, and they can be filled out if the child is under 18, so 17 years older or under. And they do not have to fill out a participation form. For the 9 Health Fair participation form does not have to be filled out for the children. If you count the number of cards when you start and then count the number when you're finished, you can let us know how many children came to your fair. Like I said, you should have gotten 50 in there, so make sure you have 50. And then you can return the extra cards with the tally sheets at the end of your fair. But we would like a count so we know how many children come to our fair, and this is the only way we know.
Okay, what is really new this year is a couple of new blood screenings. First of all, it's testosterone blood screening for males and females. The males cost $35, females $45, and it's really not discriminatory. It is a much more complex screening for the lab to test females for testosterone. It just takes a whole lot more chemistry to do that. That's why it costs more. Now, you will get educational sheets that you can read and that you can we would advise you to put these on the registration table so that participants can learn about why should males or females get testosterone screening. And also, this is even more important than it ever has been before, but it always is important to have medical professionals, whether that's doctors, nurses, or pharmacists. Pharmacists know a lot about these screenings in your registration area so they can help talk to your participants about all screenings, plus these 2 new ones. Now, with testosterone, they found that if the testosterone is too high, too low, it can cause sleep apnea, it can cause depression, And so there's a lot of medical conditions that testosterone helps to, besides libido, helps to, regulate. So it is an important screening if someone wants it. The second blood screening is vitamin B12, and in partnership with Quest, we're offering a free, that's no cost, free vitamin B12 for a participant who purchases anything at the fair. Of course, anything would include the colo kits and blood work. So that is free to anyone who is purchasing. Now, vitamin B12 is very important in your neurologic system, and it is important in a specific type of anemia. But I would advise everybody just to take a look at the educational sheets that are available on your resource list, just to know for yourself a little bit more about these two new blood screenings. Well, let's stop for just a second. Any questions that you can think of that are coming up right now?
No?
Okay.
Okay, good. Oh, good. That means we're doing our job. No. Okay. For the optional screening updates, we have 3 basic updates, and that's the spinal screening the past couple of years. If it were a chiropractor or if it was a doctor, we had 2 different screenings. They're combined this year, so there's not 2 screenings for the spinal screening. For the bone health screening, we have bone health screening and then the bone health heel ultrasound. And we want to make sure that your participants know when they come to the fair if they're actually coming for just a screening and information or if you're going to actually have the ultrasound there. That's important for them to know beforehand. So if you would let us know which one you have. If you decide to do the heel ultrasound, there is a protocol for that, but you are responsible for getting your own device. We do not have devices that we ship out for that.
And some pharmacies, I know Walgreens here in Metro Denver has some of the screenings, and now I can't think of the other one, or the machines. So I would just call around to, the big drugstores, Rite Aid, Walgreens, whatever, and just see if they have a machine that they would loan you, and if they have a pharmacist that would come and help you do the screening, because it's generally pharmacists that are in those locations that help with this. Sometimes King Soopers or City Market.
City Market
has those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Vision screening has been updated. The basic screening and the Vision Eye Health Education will share one sign, station sign this year, so it's called Vision and Eye Health. Your screening supplies will include the e-chart, as we call it, so and the rest of the equipment, the tape measure and the little ocular or whatever it's called.
Handheld device.
That's it, handheld device. Okay.
Okay, now, so before your fair, you have to start planning, and hopefully all of you have started planning before today. But you need to make sure you decide what screenings you want at your fair, and to let us know. If it gets overwhelming and there are too many screenings, you don't have enough people, we always can send you just the things for the basic fair. But all of you have decided that because your supplies are, packed and on the way. All right, so, also and especially statewide sites are very good about this. They know what clubs, what organizations are in their area, and they utilize those people to help make their fair a wonderful, wonderful fair, whether it's setting up, tearing down, or a working day affair, etc. And as we mentioned before, when you're looking for volunteers, make sure you have enough on your leadership team to make it so that one person doesn't have to do all the work.
Okay, local publicity. If you've done this before, you know what works in your community. There's always suggestions of flyers, logos, webinars, newspapers, Chamber of Commerce, anything that has worked before, I would encourage you to keep up with that. There is, instead of publicity calls this year, we're doing what we call publicity nudges. So these are weekly emails that are sent to your publicity coordinator they've begun already 8 weeks before your fair, probably have begun already. And they're just short reminders of publicity activities that you can be focusing on that week. So they're just little helpful hints that, ooh, this is a good one to start planning for, or to, to already have in place. Again, the interesting things to promote are the free vitamin B12 screening and the testosterone screening, which we've gone over before. And these, again, are a couple of the facts that we said, both of those tests affect in your body. The publicity checklist, I don't know if you've seen this before, but it is on our resource guide, and it's just a short little checkoff list that just is a reminder, like the notes we make when we want to remind ourselves we have to do something, but this is a great way to just remind you what to do and when to do it for publicity.
Okay, and again, this year we're offering site grants from King Soopers or City Market. They've been wonderful, wonderful to us. And each site grant will get a King Soopers or City Market card based on the number of participants we are expecting at your fair. You don't have to apply for this. It just happens. You get these cards sent to you. You can use these cards for any expenses related to supporting your volunteers or running your fair. We do ask that you keep receipts and return those to the 9 Health Fair. And when you get your check or card, then instructions will be in there as far as how to return all of this, the receipts, etc.
Okay, supplies have been packed and I believe picked up by the National Guard. Does anyone that's on the call already have your supplies? Probably not. Okay, that's fine. They will be delivered. One of the most important things that we can emphasize in this whole webinar is check your supplies as soon as they are delivered. Compare that with the list of supplies that and screenings that you've ordered, or the screenings that you put on the website, because once in a while there's a mistake in packing, or a screening was added after the packing was completed, and if you are missing anything, let us know. Now, oftentimes we hear that supplies are moved, so if you don't find your supplies, look around, ask whoever may have accepted the supplies that day, where are they, and be sure to check them. That is so, so important, because we may not be able to get you your needed supplies if you don't have them already. Lab supplies are delivered by Quest and a vendor that Quest uses, so you will not find lab supplies with your regular 9 Healthcare supplies. If there's any questions about that, you contact Quest, and here's Cindy Roberts' number at Quest.
And you know that in the supplies from Quest, you only get medium gloves. So if you need large or small, or if you need extra butterflies, or if you think you're going to need extra sharp containers, you need to let Cindy Roberts know beforehand. Okay, the Lab Supervisor webinar conference calls, those come, Quest Diagnostic has also given a list, and you can see those there on your screen. It's March 8th, the 22nd, and the 29th. They're all Wednesdays. And you need to call the number on your screen with the access code. And again, it's Ready Talk just like you did here. Really, your lab supervisor should be able to look at that beforehand. a lot of good information on it.
And because of the 2 additional blood screenings, they really do need to attend the webinar, because there's you need more tubes or a different type of tube. So they really, very, very important to attend that webinar.
Because this year, if a female wants testosterone, it will be a red top tube. So you would have the tiger top tube, the purple top tube, and this year you will also need a red top tubes. So there's a little bit of change there.
Yes. Okay, reminders, the day of your fair, this is the same. If a screening is changed or canceled, please update your website as soon as possible. If they change if there's a no-show, which, oh gee, that does happen, call our hotline at the number that is on the screen, and that hotline will be going from April 22nd to April 30th, and we can change your screen so that your screenings on the website so that looks different. Outside of those dates, if there are any changes and you cannot make them, you can make them, but if you can't figure that out, you can give Melody Ryan a call at the number on the screen, and she's very good at helping you, and very, very helpful.
Okay, now just in case, when we know that it's not going to happen in any of your fairs, but just in case there's an accidental needle puncture or a biohazard exposure, we want to make sure that it's easy for you to know what to do. So the big thing is to call the number 303-588-0093. We have a nurse in the office here who carries what we call the bat phone for biohazard and transport. So anytime you have a biohazard exposure or a transport to a hospital or away from your fair, call that number and we will walk you through the steps you need to have. It's important that you have your incident report. There are 2 incident reports, and make sure you have copies of those handy, because you as a site coordinator or a lab supervisor will have specific roles to do if there's a biohazard needle stick or a biohazard exposure. So have some of those ready. There are 2 different the needle stick report, and then just one if somebody faints. So make sure you have those. Call us. You'll want to have the participant who had contaminated the needle sit in the area for a while, because you'll be needing to draw tube of blood on them, as well as the person who has been contaminated will need to wash the wound quickly for at least 5 minutes, and then they will have to have a tube of blood drawn on them as well.
I always suggest, and I don't know why anyone wouldn't do it these days, is put that number in your cell phone under bat phone, because it's unlikely you have anyone else that's called bat. So that will get that. It's always kind of a panicky situation, and if you put that in your cell phone, you can just hit the number, and then you don't have to remember another phone number.
And we will talk you through all of that.
Yes, yes. The nurse who answers that phone will talk you through it. Okay, reminders after your fair. This really hasn't changed either, but of course, all blood specimens go to Quest. Well, everything that goes to Quest via the courier are blood specimens, a copy of the participant form, any pap smears, with a copy of the pap smear requisition, any unused pap smear supplies, send that back with Quest. We repackage those and get them out to sites who are doing more pap smears, so it's very important. The lab supervisor confidential envelope still contains the biohazard and incident reports, the phlebotomy agreements, the white copies of the add-on and refund sheets from the cashier, and be sure that the lab supervisor and cashier supervisor connections are ready to have those available when that courier gets there, so that they're enclosed in the boxes that will go back to Quest. Very, very important. Any lab copy of no bloods, so that just means somebody that's coming to your fair, they must fill out a participant form, but they didn't order any blood. Then there's a box on the participant form called no bloods. We do want to know and do need that signed, formed, and have that for our records who came to the fair. But it will no longer be included in the lab confidential envelope. You can just return that with your supplies. Any biohazard waste, just make pre-arrangements at a local medical facility to dispose of those supplies. And then centrifuges have instructions from Quest Diagnostics in the box.
Okay, there's a question.
Oh, okay.
What is the reasoning to draw initial blood on the person who was stuck? And the reason is we run that the lab runs that for HIV testing, hepatitis testing, ALT, some enzymes.
Yeah.
And so we need to have a baseline. And
we don't test for syphilis, but we do test for HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and one liver function
yes.
test.
And the person who has been contaminated, we will instruct them to notify us throughout the next year at different intervals, and they can be retested at several different intervals. But we'll go over all that with the person when they call.
Right. So both the participant whose blood that usually the phlebotomist is stuck with, everybody gets the same test.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this is Audrey. I have a question about that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it is per the CDC guidelines that, if the person who is the source person, the source patient per se, if their blood is negative, then that should be the end of testing. There should be no further testing because they weren't exposed to anything. So that's why I'm asking, why does the person being stuck have to have blood drawn? Because if their baseline is positive, they didn't get it from the source person. They got it somewhere else.
Right. The reason we want them to, they have a choice to be tested further on. They can refuse if they want to. The person who has been exposed can refuse any of these tests. They have a choice. But we want to make sure they have a choice and that they feel comfortable even, up to that year point. So it's kind of overkill, but we do it.
And it just adds a little bit more extra expense on you guys because if the source person is negative, that should be the end of it.
Yeah.
It could turn positive at a later date. If someone was just exposed, it may not be positive at that moment, but that's why we do it. I think at 3 months.
6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and a year.
Yes. And again, the phlebotomist usually, can say, no, especially at statewide sites, I know this person, I feel comfortable, or whatever. They can refuse that, but it's more than a courtesy for us to offer that. It's that we want to make sure that you do not turn positive. Now, if somebody would turn positive, that's going to go into a whole other long protocol about, okay, where did you get it? But that's what we offer. And yes, it is more expensive, but we are certainly willing to sustain that cost because we want that phlebotomist to feel good about this, and getting stuck. It's as good as you can feel about that. Is that okay, Audrey? Is that?
How you guys do it is your business, but it just seems like extra cost and extra steps that aren't recommended by the CDC.
Okay.
And we will look into that
Sure.
again. Yeah, because we're open to things, but that's the way it stands this year when we looked into it. So basically, the exposed party has a choice of whether they're going to have their blood drawn or tested, and they can refuse, but then they have to sign that on the incident report. The participant who has contaminated the needle, so the source, does not have a choice. If they say, no, you cannot draw another tube of blood on me, then we will take their original tube. They will not get whatever test they ordered. We will give them a refund, and we will use that tube of blood to test for the HIV and the hepatitis, etc. Okay? But we will look into that again. Thank you, Audra.
Yeah, thank you. The other stuff that goes somewhere else, any unused lab supplies can go back to the redraw contact or to, it's usually a local medical clinic or hospital. You don't have to return the unused lab supplies. And to 9 Health Fair within 5 days of the fair date, of course, the cashier paperwork, and the cashiers will know what to do with all of that, the screening tally sheets. Don't put those into your supply box. Just return that, either in an envelope. Sometimes it even goes to Quest, although I didn't say that.
Yeah.
And, Section 4 in the resource guide tells you what to do with the equipment and supplies. Some of that you can keep and give to your local medical facility, and some of the supplies like blood pressure cuffs we need back. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
We kind of finished early today. So, yes. So do you have any questions for us? Okay. Then that's the end of our webinar today. Thank you so much for all you do. We do appreciate it.
Yes, and contact us because you always think of something right after you hang up, and we're here. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate your attendance.
And Val, just stay on for a minute. We'll talk about that. The signs.
Hey guys, it's Charlie. I've got a favor to ask. Can you send out the PowerPoint on this presentation?
Okay, Charlie. Yep.
That would be much appreciated. Thank you.
And you're doing okay down there?
We need our publicity person quit on us, so we need to find a PR person. Otherwise, we're in great shape.
Okay. Yes, we will send this to you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Who is still on?
This is Megan. I was from Cortez, the Cortez site, and we were talking about the signs.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So I did send an email to Val Hobson. I haven't, of course, heard back from her yet to see if she had those.
Okay. So what I'll do is go ahead and, let's see. Why don't I just give you my number? Because Cindy works part-time. My number is 303-996-2134.
Okay.
And you can just let me know if you hear from her one way or another.
Okay, sounds good.
And if you don't have them, we'll see what we can do.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, no problem. I'll see if I can get in touch with her here shortly and let you know.
All right.
Thank you guys very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being here today.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Diane Dudley with the Custer County Health Fair. Is this PowerPoint online?
I don't think this PowerPoint is not online, I don't think.
No.
Not on the website. But do you want it?
I'd like it just to go back and gather up all the phone numbers and website addresses and emails.
Okay, Diane, give me your email.
I'll say it, then I'll spell it.
Okay.
ronanddiane.dudley@aol.com. So that's RONADDIANE.DUDLEY@AOL.com.
Okay, I'm going to make sure I